Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sydney. In today's video, we'll be chatting about all of the books that I've hauled recently, all of which are from my local indie bookstore as well as the library sale. So let's get into it. Hey, what's up? How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. My city has been fortunate enough to be blessed by a brand new indie bookstore. This bookstore is called Tomorrow Bookstore and I'm very much in love with it. Owners are adorable, very excited to have them in our downtown area, and I definitely was a little bit unhinged while shopping during two separate occasions. And then the city's library does these library book sales like quarterly or like, I don't know, so many times a year, and I finally didn't freaking work on a weekend where it was happening. So Caleb and I went to that, and I have some really good titles to share with you. I'm gonna start with all of the titles that I got from Tomorrow Bookstore, which is the local indie. These four in particular was on one of the little circle tables in the middle of the store, and I was like hovering. I was hovering around this table, picked up 4 different books, and I was like, man, this table's phenomenal. And she's like, yeah, that's my like weird kind of obscure table. And I was like, that makes sense. That's why I was drawn to it. So those 4 books, ready? This one was kind of just a cover buy, but I do genuinely think I will like it. It is The Wall by Marlene Haushofer. This is a translated work, and she is an Austrian author. This cover, check it out. And also on the back, like long ways, wow. Look at that landscape. So pretty. This one, like, it just sounds so cute. It says, allegorical yet deeply personal and absorbing. The Wall is at once a critique of modern civilization, a nuanced and loving portrait of a relationship between a woman and her animals, a thrilling survival story, a Cold War era dystopian adventure, and a truly singular feminist classic. The next book that was on that table is Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, and this cover as well just really grabbed my attention. I feel like I've seen this book one other time. I think it was on Kayla's channel, if I'm not mistaken, and it truly just sounds absolutely bizarre. It kind of requires me to just read this first paragraph, okay? When Fernanda, Annalise, and their friends from the Delta Bilingual Academy convene after school, Annalise leads them in thrilling but increasingly dangerous rituals to a rhinestoned douar. What's that fashion word? Dwyer? No. Oh my god, how do you pronounce that word? Dior. What was I saying? I don't know. Dior scented drag queen god of her own invention. Even more perilous is the secret that Annalise and Fernanda share, rooted in a dare in which violence meets love. Meanwhile, their literature teacher, Miss Clara, who is obsessed with imitating her dead mother, struggles to preserve her deteriorating sanity. Each day she edges nearer to a total break with reality. It sounds absolutely wild. This might be a book that I have Caleb read with me for our series of weird words. I think this would be a very interesting one for us to read together. Absolutely bananas. It sounds great. The next book that I got is Death on Gokumon Island by Seishi Yokomisu. This is a classic Japanese murder mystery, and I have not even I don't think I've experienced a classic murder mystery, and the fact that it's a Japanese murder mystery, I just was entirely intrigued by this cover. And one of my patrons loves Japanese literature, and as soon as I saw this book, I was like, oh my god, Adele would love if I was reading this book. So I wanted to grab it to see if I'm into the genre of murder mystery. I think that would be a fun thing for me to try. And plus, I just I couldn't not grab this. This cover's too pretty. And the last book that I grabbed from that table in particular reminded me of Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages. And you're probably gonna say, why? And it's literally just because of the vibes of the cover. I saw this book, read the title, and I was like, I think this is a book that Noelle would buy, so I bought it. It is Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch by Rivka Galchen. Look at it. Does this not scream Noelle? I think it does, and I was just thoroughly intrigued. It takes place in 1618 Germany, and from what I can quickly gather, it is about our main character who is known by her neighbors for her herbal remedies and her successful children. Someone in the town named Ursula accuses her of offering her a bitter witchy drink that has made her ill, and now our main character is facing the threat of financial ruin, torture, and even execution. So the title, Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch, fits that description very well. I wonder if we'll get mixed POVs. Another thing that made me pick up this book was it looks like it's also told in interview style format, because there are some bolded sentences that end in a question mark. It looks like it's like question and answer, and I feel like this would be a very quick read, and I am just excited. I think it sounds super fun. Moving on to other books that I got from the same bookstore. These 3 are romances, and I picked up The Friend Zone and Your Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I have just been bombarded with seeing this author's face everywhere, and I still have yet to read Part of Your World. I actually have it on hold at Libby for audiobook, so I am going to read Part of Your World soon. So I don't even know if I like her writing, but I bought 2 other books by her. Yours Truly is the newest release, and The Friend Zone just sounded really tough, honestly. It's like The Friend Zone will have you laughing one moment and grabbing for tissues the next as it tackles the realities of infertility and loss with wit, heart, and a lot of sass. I love that. It sounds like it could be a little bit heavy and also lighthearted at the same time. There's a cute little dog on the back cover. I thought that it sounded like it could be a win. This other one, the most recent release, Yours Truly, what made me purchase it was seeing Liv from Liv's Library posting on her story, her sobbing. She was sobbing after finishing or getting through a certain point of this book, and I was like, tears? Sounds like I would love it. So I bought it. I don't know what the synopsis is. I know that there's a cute dog in this cover too, and it made Olivia cry. So the other romance was one that I've seen many times, but I have not seen it in person yet. And when I saw it, I had to buy it. It is Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. I've been so in love with this cover, and in the romance books that I tend to really love, like You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty and 7 Days in June, these books are hard to read. They make me feel a lot. They're very emotional, but they're also, you know, spicy and beautiful and happy at the same time. Those are the romances that always get 5 stars for me. And I think that in my hunt for finding other romances similar to those 2 books, I have come across Honey and Spice in many situations where people talk about it similarly to where I feel like I could have a similar experience with this story. And it says, this is a vibrant debut novel full of passion, humor, and heart that centers on a young woman who has no interest in love and unexpectedly finds herself caught up in a fake relationship with the man she warned her girls about. So that just sounds messy and super fun. And another thing that makes me excited about this one is I don't know if I really love fake dating. I know that it's a trope that a lot of people I know really enjoy, but you know, tropes are a very like person by person basis. I want to know if I really love it or not. So here we are. I bought it. The next few I got obviously at the same store, but Jan was with me. And one of these in particular I bought because of Jan, because it is one of her favorite books and it felt like it was time. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but Jan was with me. I had to buy it. It is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers. I've always loved this cover. This book and Women Eating, I used to get confused with all the time. They have very similar vibey covers, and I didn't love Women Eating. And I told Jan that because the vibes are kind of similar. Like this is cannibalism, but Women Eating is vampire, right? I was like, but I don't like Women Eating. And Jan was like, I don't like it either. And I was like, oh, okay. There might actually be hope for this one. But basically, this is a chic food critic with a quite literal voracious appetite for her lovers, puts the same care and attention into murder as she does her writing. It's about a food critic who's a cannibal. And I'm nervous about it because I can't imagine reading Tender as the Flesh, honestly. And I've talked about this before. I own Tender as the Flesh. I think Heather bought it for me, one of my patrons, and I love you. I just don't know if I'll ever be ready for it, mostly because of the setting. Like the setting of Tender as the Flesh being in a slaughterhouse just like really makes me feel awful. Like it makes me, I don't know if I'll ever read it. Like the gore of it doesn't scare me as much though. So I feel like this will be a good little introduction to what could be going on in Tender as the Flesh and see if I can handle it. But regardless, I'm excited to get to this one, because Jan obviously speaks very highly of it. And 2, I want to push my boundaries. I want to see if this is a type of story that I can stomach and that I would enjoy. So yeah. Here it is. The next one I got is Bliss Montage by Ling Ma. I can't even tell you what it's about because I saw the cover and there was zero question about whether it was walking out of there with me or not. First, I saw the spine, the purple with the little orange dot. I was like, what's that? And then I saw it was Ling Ma and I was like, oh, that's who wrote Severance, which is my buddy read pick for my book club in this coming month in May. Very excited. And then I saw this cover and didn't even care what it was about. It's so pretty and it's so realistic and lifelike. I couldn't leave without it. This bookmark. This one says, in Bliss Montage, Ling Ma brings us 8 wildly different tales and mirages of people making their way through the madness and reality of our collective delusions. Love and loneliness, connection and possession, friendship, motherhood, the idea of home. A toxic friendship grows up around a drug that makes you invisible. An ancient ritual might heal you of anything if you bury yourself alive. Oh my god. These and other scenarios investigate the ways that the outlandish and ordinary are shockingly, deceptively, heartbreakingly alike. Okay, Okay, am I gonna say this right now? At the surface level, this seems like it could be my best books of the year. Did I just put expectations on this book? No, I'm gonna drop it and relax a little. I'm gonna just chill out, but that sounds phenomenal. The next one I got because, okay, I had the old cover of this book, and this is a version of the cover that I wasn't ever sure if I was absolutely in love with, because there's a version of this that has a skull on the cover, and I really love skulls, you know? But I saw this, and again, I couldn't leave it there, okay? I couldn't. I was supporting local, damn it. It is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. This cover is so simple in person. It's matte. There's no shine. It's like a perfect one note vibe. It says, enter the players. There are 7 of us then. 7 bright young things with wide, precious futures ahead of us. Until that year, we saw no further than the books in front of our faces. That writing alone sounds stunning. On the day that Oliver Marks is released from jail, the man who put him there is waiting at the door. Detective Colborne wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is finally ready to tell it. A decade ago, Oliver is one of the 7 young Shakespearean actors at this classical conservatory, a place of keen ambition and fierce competition. In this secluded world of firelight and leather-bound books, I love this writing, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off. Hero, villain, tyrant, temptress, ingenue, I don't know what that word is. I'm not French. Ingenue? And extra. But in their 4th and final year, a good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. I actually haven't read that synopsis through, and I am even more convinced that I'm gonna have a good time with this. The writing is stunning. The vibes are immaculate. I'm here for it. Okay, so those are all of the contributions to the new bookstore. And now let's do a little bit of a break before the library haul. I forgot that there were a couple gifts in here. In one of my recent reading vlogs, I opened up some mail from my P.O. box, and The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers was in there. This was sent to me by Becca, and she described it as sort of like Legends and Lattes vibes, but make it sci-fi, and I'm really excited about it. I have actually never read this book. I know that it's very popular. I know that people really like it. It has a great flop. Very excited to, hold it while I read it. Yes, Beck, I am keeping the little bee fabric in here. I love it. I know that there is a found family in this book, and that is also a trope that I absolutely love. So very excited to have this found family sci-fi on my shelves. The next gift was actually from Jan, my sweet, sweet Jan. We went to a V.E. Schwab kind of book talk. We thought we were going to meet her, but we didn't, and we were very upset about it. But we did get to be in the presence of our Lord and Savior V.E. Schwab. And it was a book talk for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So the soft cover came out, and it is signed. I'm very, very excited about it. Thank you, Jan. You're an angel. She wouldn't let me buy my own copy because she is who she is, and she said that we were uneven because the last time we met before this time, I bought her a book at Barnes & Noble, and she felt the need to return the favor, and she's ridiculous. But now I have the soft cover edition of this stunning book. I'm just excited to reread it eventually because I have forgotten a lot of the things that go on, and I know that I had a great time with it the first time. So excited. The next 2 are from Daryan, my sweet, sweet Daryan. I sent her my Fairy Loot copy of Emily's Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies, filled out a customs form and everything. And she, in return, sent me 2 books that I'm very, very, very excited about. As a thank you. And one of them is The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. I read Sea of Tranquility this year, and I absolutely loved it. It was 4.5 stars. And apparently a lot of characters in this story are also carryovers or crossovers in Sea of Tranquility. So I am someone who is obsessed with little Easter eggs in stories. One of my favorite things about reading are little Easter eggs within series or different books by the same author. Absolutely love that. And I hear that happens in this, and I am very much looking forward to that. The gift note says, "Take it," from Daryan. This says, in this captivating story of crisis and survival, Emily St. John Mandel takes readers through often hidden landscapes, campgrounds for the near homeless, underground electronic clubs, the business of international shipping, service in luxury hotels, and life in federal prison. It is a captivating portrait of greed and guilt, love and delusion, ghosts and unintended consequences, and the infinite ways we search for meaning in our lives. It sounds really beautiful, and I know that I love her writing, so it's going to be at least an enjoyable read for sure. The other one that Daryan got with the gift note of pleasure doing business with you is I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai, and this cover is one of my favorites, period. The covers, it's giving rocket pop. It's giving childhood. Absolutely beautiful. This one, the main character, Bodie Kane, is content to forget her past, a family tragedy that marred her adolescence, 4 largely miserable years at boarding school, and the murder of her former roommate, Talia. Though the circumstances surrounding Talia's death and the conviction of the school's athletic trainer, Omar, are hotly debated online, Bodie needs to let sleeping dogs lie. But when the school invites her back to teach a course, Bodie is inexorably drawn to the case and its increasingly apparent flaws. In their rush to convict Omar, did the school and the police overlook other suspects? Is the real killer still out there? As she falls down every rabbit hole she is so determined to avoid, Bodie begins to wonder if she wasn't as much of an outsider at Granby as she'd thought. If, perhaps, back in 1995, she knew something that might have held the key to solving the case. 1, I'm obsessed with the name Bodie. I really, really love that name. I think it's really cute. 2, I'm also just really excited about this book and this cover and everything about it. Sounds really interesting. Sounds like it could be kind of like a slow burn detective style thriller, and I'm into that. Okay, now we are on to the library sale, all right? Really quickly, I'm not gonna go into much detail on these 3 because, well, 5, I guess. This is Caleb's stack. He got The Fountains of Paradise by Arthur C. Clarke. Cover is very cool. Very like old-timey sci-fi. And that was what drew him to it. I don't know if he particularly knows Arthur C. Clarke. I don't, but I think he might be a classic sci-fi writer. Again, I'm not sure, but Caleb's very excited about it. He also got the Collector's Book of Science Fiction by H.G. Wells with illustrations. So he was very psyched about this. I mean, these were $5. This was $5. And like there's a bunch of just old illustrations that go with all of the stories, and it's very cool. And H.G. Wells, I know, is a classic sci-fi writer, and Caleb is a very classic sci-fi type of dude, so he was very stoked. And then this third one, Caleb was most excited about. He audibly gasped when he saw it, because this book is like $40 brand new or something, and he got it for $5, obviously. This is the David Foster Wallace Reader. I think it's just like a collection of little snippets of like all of his work with some never before published stories as well, I believe. I know he considers him one of his favorite authors, if not his favorite author, so he was very stoked, and I was very excited for him. These 2 little small books, I mean, they were $2, and they're fun little editions. So To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, it's just a cute little old edition. I loved the lavender, very cool, loved it. I have semi-fond memories of reading this book in school, not really. I don't remember hating it, but it's one of those classics. It's a classic, you know? A fun copy. And another one, Grapes of Wrath by Steinbeck. This is another just fun edition. I've never read Grapes of Wrath. I don't know if Caleb has. Maybe he has. I don't remember what he said. But I thought it was a fun, cute little cover, so we bought it. And now I got 1, 2, 3. I found 7 other titles that I was really excited about. So very quickly, let's chat about them. This one, I loved the size of this book. I know that it doesn't have great reviews on Goodreads, but the things that I've seen people talk about not liking are things that aren't deal breakers for me, so I genuinely think that I might enjoy it. And this book is Topics of Conversation by Miranda Popke. This cover, absolutely adorable. Love the like monochrome pool vibe, very fun. And it says, in her first novel, Miranda Popke writes of desire, disgust, motherhood, loneliness, art, pain, feminism, anger, envy, and guilt in language that sizzles with intelligence and eroticism. The novel is composed almost exclusively of conversations between women, the stories they tell each other, and the stories they tell themselves about shame and love, infidelity, and self-sabotage. And careens through 20 years in the life of an unnamed narrator hungry for experience and bent on upending her life. Honestly, it just sounds somewhat relatable, you know, when thinking about like self-sabotage. It's like you always, maybe not you, but people, maybe me, I don't know, will sometimes just look for something to be wrong when nothing is wrong, just because you're either used to things going wrong or you have this negative outlook on life, and it just sounds like it covers things regarding that, and I think it could be a very interesting read. I would just be curious to know if I would like how the story is told. That's the only part that I am a little bit uneasy about, told in like conversation style, but yeah, I definitely am willing to give it a shot. I think that it has a lot of things going for it in things that I might like. The next one was just a cute little reference book. I picked it up, and it's heavy and it's small. It is The Greek and Roman Myths, a guide to the classical stories. It's just a little reference book. It opens really nicely. The pages are nice and thick. It has all of the classic stories, you know, as the title said. And the pictures are just really pretty. I thought that it was like a really cool find, and it was literally $3 or $5. excited. The next one that I got, I was really stoked about seeing, honestly. This thriller is by an author that I haven't read yet, but this one in particular has sounded very interesting to me. It's One by One by Ruth Ware. I know that it's gotten some mixed reviews like most thrillers do though, right? This story follows 8 coworkers who get snowed in at a luxurious rustic ski chalet high in the French Alps. And it doesn't sound that bad unless the company that you keep, these 8 coworkers, each has something to gain, something to lose, and something to hide. As soon as one of the shareholder upends the agenda by pushing a lucrative but conscientious buyout offer, tensions simmer and loyalties are tested. The storm brewing inside the chalet is no match for the one brewing outside, however, and a devastating avalanche leaves the group cut off from all access to the outside world. Even worse, one of these people hadn't made it back from the slopes when the avalanche hit. As each hour passes without any sign of rescue, panic mounts, the chalet grows colder, and the group dwindles further, one by one. I love like a isolated sort of story. Like this reminds me of Rock, Paper, Scissors, and I loved that like snowy, isolated vibe. So this has some things going for it that I think that I might really enjoy. Also, it's a great quality hardback that I was very excited to see at the sale. The next one is a fantasy book that I have been recommended, actually. People, I think it was a couple people in my Patreon, or maybe just one person, I don't remember, but I saw it and got excited because I was like, oh, someone said I would like this. It is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. It is a fantasy series. Don't really know anything about it except what it says on the back, which is Guile is the prism, the most powerful man in the world. He is high priest and emperor, a man whose power, wit, and charm are all that preserves a tenuous peace. Yet prisms never last, and Guile knows exactly how long he has left to live. When Guile discovers he has a son, born in a far kingdom after the war that put him in power, he must decide how much he's willing to pay to protect a secret that could tear his world apart. So it has some family drama, some political ruling drama, and I'm always interested to check out a new fantasy series and see if the magic system and the writing really does something for me. I'm excited. The next 2 were exciting to see, honestly. I loved buying them secondhand, personally, and they are The Red Scrolls of Magic and Lady of Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I am slowly making my way through the Shadowhunters world, and I didn't own these 2, and it was very cool to see them sitting there. So I snatched them. Lady Midnight is in the Dark Artifices. This is book 1. I don't own anything from this series except now I do. And then this is, it says The Eldest Curses book 1. I don't remember where exactly this one will tie in, but the inside flap says Magnus Bane, so that makes me excited because I love me some Magnus, honestly. So yeah, the last one was one that I was just very intrigued by from the cover. Again, this one doesn't have great reviews on Goodreads, but that doesn't always scare me because some of my favorite books are rated horribly on Goodreads. And again, some of the things that people were saying they didn't like, they didn't sound like deal breakers for me. So this one is The Afterlives by Thomas Pierce. Love this cover. Think it's really cute. Love that the spine also is like half sky. Very much into it. This one says Jim Bird died at age 33, technically, for a few minutes. Revived with no memory of any tunnels, lights, or angels, Jim has all but given up on the idea of an afterlife until the day he hears it, a ghostly voice on a staircase. As Jim works to unravel the mystery of the voice, he begins a new life with his wife Annie. Fumbling for faith, searching for proof that we might outlast our bodies, the couple tangles with holograms, physics, a machine that connects the living and the dead, and a physicist convinced the universe only 93% exists. Together, Jim and Annie confront the specter of loss that looms for anyone who dares to fall in love. Funny, fiercely original, and gracefully moving, The Afterlife is a portrait of a marriage, a story of overlapping histories, and a journey outside of time and space. This story will haunt you in a good way. I loved that last line. That was something that really dragged me in, but what really sold me on this book, all right? The praise on the back of the book was Emily St. John Mandel, all right? It says, a bracingly intelligent, beautifully rendered meditation on ghosts, technology, marriage, and the afterlife. This is a remarkable novel, she says. And I was like, if Emily St. John Mandel is saying these things, I'm inclined to believe her and buy this book for $5, right? Absolutely. All right. Good work, everyone. That's it. Those are all the books that I have bought and received recently. Thank you to anyone who ever sends me anything. I get very excited and love chatting about them with you. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. If you are still watching, then go ahead and leave the cow emoji down below in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.